All right, so I'm here with Dante. We actually met on Clematis Street probably 2 weeks ago in the rain.
Yeah, in the rain, right?
It was in the rain. I know you got a good story.
Yeah.
I know you sent me your book. I skimmed through it, read the introduction, and it's definitely something that's very interesting. I think a story that people want to hear.
Yeah.
So. You want to just give me a quick synopsis of your story?
Well, the story is about me and my life. How I got introduced to heroin at a young age in Detroit. Not using, but selling. It was the thing to do. Like before I even knew what it was, I was selling it. And now I was 14.
Wow.
And you might think that's old enough, but it's really not like old enough to make a conscious decision like that.
Well, I got 15, 16-year-old daughters, so I know how young they are. So
so it's so easy to get influenced, and that was all that was going on. And now it's becoming an epidemic down here. With so many people dying and getting hurt from it. So I wrote this book. I'm really talking to the dealers. I'm trying to, because these rappers, they make songs and they make it look good and make it sound good, and now you got these kids jumping out here into this world that they don't even really know, just like I did, So I'm the person that's telling them the truth while these rappers lie to them. This book tells them the truth.
Right. So are you from Detroit originally?
Yes, I'm from Detroit.
What brought you to West Palm Beach or Florida?
My parents moved down here.
Yeah.
They moved to Broward County, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you start writing?
I've been writing for about, I'll say 10 years, 2008.
And how do you feel? So just tell me the progression of your story. What happened in your life that brought you on to this red chair at Subculture today?
Okay. Well, the book starts off with me in Detroit, and it goes back to, because it's rough up there.
Right.
My parents moved me down to Florida at a young age to get away from it, but I chose to go back, and that's how I ended up getting sucked into the streets like that. So, but it's hardcore. It's not sugar-coated. It's hardcore. I tell it to the kids and to the people that read it exactly how it is. Like, this is what you want to do with your life. This is going to happen.
Right.
So I'm hoping to, you got treatment centers all over Palm Beach County for the addicts, but in order to slow down the problem, you have to talk to the kids too, the ones that's selling it, and tell them the truth. Because a lot of them don't really know. They just listen to what they hear on the radio.
Sure. So what is an alternative though? Because I know that is the way. I know a lot of the people who made it big, that's where they got their start, right?
Yeah. A lot of people think, well, it doesn't even take a lot of money to invest in yourself. A lot of people think they got to sell drugs first and then invest that money into something. But in the book, I'm recommending working a job and saving money, and doing the same thing. You can start a business you can start something with $1,000,
right?
And that's not hard to save working at a job.
So what coming from that environment, here we're very close. We're actually just a couple blocks away from our version of the hood.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who live out there, and I try to go there. They've got some great barbecue place off the Bone there, which is fantastic. But I can't really understand how the kids who were born there and grew up there feel, like how they what their when they look forward to the future, what they see, where they see themselves. So what could you tell me that would really make me understand about your life and the lives of the kids that are currently out there?
Well, growing up like that, you can feel defeated already before you even get into the world. So unless you have, and then the people who have their attention is like the media and the rappers and all that stuff is telling them it's only one way out.
Right.
But somebody has to tell them, no, there's more than one way out. And you have to be able to sit down and talk to them and to be able to reach them, So that's what I'm hoping this book will do.
So what were the circumstances that brought you around? So when did you stop selling? When did you realize, what's the story behind that?
I stopped selling last year. I was sick and tired of going to jail, sick and tired of the risk, people hurting, and I wasn't really into it like that anymore. Anyway, it was just like what I was used to, repetition,
Right.
So I finally woke up and saw the light, and like, you know what? I'm gonna use what I know to help people instead of hurt people.
Right. And so what are your plans then, like, to use what you know?
Well, this book is actually the kickstart to a whole nonprofit foundation.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, we're going to write more books. We actually have our first meeting this morning.
All right. That's awesome.
It's just thoughts and ideas right now. I'm working on mapping it out.
So are you working with people that are local who have the same ideas as you do?
Yes, I'm reaching out to the courts. I'm reaching out to the government officials.
So, when did you move to West Palm?
2008. I fell in love with West Palm Beach.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful place, and even though, we do have issues, I think that the town really has come a very long way. I've been here for 10 years, and really do love it.
I love it. I love just downtown. It makes you think about life.
Yeah.
It makes you want more out of life. Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, like, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I think one of the things, that I see in West Palm Beach is you have the ability to come into contact with people.
Yeah.
And that's something that you don't really, find. I'm from Cincinnati originally, and up north, it's such a car culture.
Yeah.
You're either in the mall, you're in your car driving there, or you're at home, in front of the TV. There's very few opportunities to be like walking and meet somebody and discover that they have a story, and then have that actually impact your own life.
When I met you, I was working at Medici's before they opened, like for the construction company that helped develop Medici's. Excuse me. And it's like everybody I met, like, I'm a friendly person, so when I meet people, I'm like, hey, how you doing? What are you doing? It's like everybody's somebody.
Right.
And it's like, I want to be a part of this club. Like, I don't even think about looking back.
That's great. Yeah, and that's really what we need. I mean, I would love to see, and it's funny. Have you ever been to the Tacos and Hip Hop event here? So what they do is they close down this whole alley. They open up the gates. Mm-hmm. They'll put a DJ like way back in there, and then they'll put a taco truck over at this side, or a taco tent.
Okay.
And I think it's the first Friday of the month, so last Friday. But this place just fills up with people, and it's kids from Palm Beach Atlantic.
Yeah.
It's kids from and then you've got your older people, you got your middle-aged people, you got your white people, your black people, your people who like the old school hip hop, people who like modern stuff, and it's I come here just to feel that vibe, just to feel the people, like, it doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, what your story is. We're here and we're enjoying the music, and we're enjoying the tacos, and we're just having a grand old time. So tell me about some of your other books. So is the book completely like an autobiography?
It's more like a memoir.
Okay, memoir.
But I actually just loaded it to Amazon. It's available now on Amazon. But it's more so about helping people. It's like, coming from the streets, I can say this. It's like three types of drug dealers. You got the ones that's deep, that's like knee deep out there, that you probably won't get through to.
Right.
And then you have the ones that's getting out of prison, that's going back to it. And then you have the teenagers that's being raised and influenced to get in it.
Right.
So I'm hoping to reach the last two.
The teenagers.
The teenagers and the ones getting out of prison.
Right.
Like, for that, like, I have a whole blueprint sketched out. Like, I want people, like, the same way I'm telling my story and talking about my life, just talking about it is going to save people.
Right.
So imagine if other people did that instead of, made it look good and glamorized it.
Right. Well, and I think because kids are so easily influenced.
Yeah, they are.
And my kids come to me and ask me questions about, hey, what about this? Can I make money quickly? In cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's sure, but you've got huge risks involved. And especially kids, they always like to take the easy way. They want to go and they want to do something. They know they think they might make a quick buck. And of course, I was that age too. You think you're invincible at that point. And the reality of the world, has not kind of closed in on you yet.
Right.
So getting them at that age, is huge. Do you know Ricky Aiken?
No, I don't know.
So he has a group called Inner City Innovators.
Mm-hmm.
I'll introduce you, at some point.
Okay.
But he comes here all the time, and he's born and raised here in West Palm Beach. And I think his story is pretty the same as yours. Growing up, here, but then also coming to the realization that he can actually help his kids in his neighborhood. So he started up Inner City Innovators. You know, we have a huge problem with gun violence in the inner city, and one of his good friends got killed.
Yeah.
You know, like pointlessly, like really senselessly. So kind of spurred him on to do something and help his neighborhood.
I think the one thing that makes me different from one of the major things that make me different is the fact that my parents moved me from Detroit, from the roughness, to Broward County. They actually own a home in Parkland, right on the edge of Boca Raton. And so I had a chance to do better. They took me out of that to do better.
Did they move specifically for you?
Yeah, because I was 7 years old.
Okay. My
father, he moved down here. He started a business. He's real successful. But I always went back and I saw with all those kids, they got money fast. Like they didn't go to school.
Right.
When they did, they made it look good. They had a lot of money. They had cars. I'm talking kids in high school, freshman year, and it's so easy to get sucked up into it and want it.
Right.
So I turned down this good life to go back up there. And I went through a lot like that. And that's a lot going on right now too. It's a lot of kids that's not really raised to be that. And they just choose to go out there. So this book is I'm really hitting on some keys in this book to reach that point.
That is interesting. Yeah. That's an aspect that I didn't really see how people just feel attracted to that lifestyle and the quick money and there's got to be a rush for a young kid to be doing that kind of stuff.
And then you got that kids in the suburbs jumping out to try to get involved in it too, and it's just like it's sucking up everybody. Right. But nobody's telling them the truth. They all make it look good. They show the money, the cars, the jewelry, the girls, but nobody talks about the bad parts.
So, have you talked? What has your experience been with? Because I know there's 1,000 organizations here that work with kids, and they, I'm sure in Detroit there's also, those similar types of organizations. Why aren't we making more progress in this area, even though we do have a lot of government organizations, local organizations who are trying to do a lot of this for many years?
I think because it's not enough. It's not enough people like me with the actual experience reaching back out. You got government officials and you have people that don't really know, but they just see the problem and they want to help, so they reach out. So they're not able to get through as clear as somebody like you would.
Because they could see you and they look at see themselves and they look at you.
When I tell this story, I start off with the things I went through. I start off not glamorizing it, but I show the highlights of it,
Right.
And then I go to the downside, and then I start talking to them. I'm like, listen, you don't have to do this. You can do this instead of this, and get much further.
Right.
So it's just like a strategy the way I talk to people, and I can talk to any crowd. I can talk to you. I can go downtown. I can go on that side.
Yeah.
And I feel like they'll listen to me.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, you're very eloquent in how you state your case.
Yeah.
And so what are some of what you would consider maybe the biggest takeaways from your life if you could choose to do one thing different, other than some of the big choices, but what are the little choices that you made that led up to your life that you would want to change if you could?
If I could take it all back, I would be an attorney. I would probably be a state attorney too.
Yeah.
Because I had a case here in Palm Beach County, and Kirk Volker was my state attorney. And I'm so used to state attorneys that just want to, because I've been in jail a couple of times, with the lifestyle. And I'm so used to state attorneys that just want to hang you, just give you the max. But Kirk Volker showed me a different side of it. And I'm like, we need more state attorneys like that actually separate people and say this is that have a heart still.
Yeah.
And it's just not about the time, but it's he looked at my whole life. He's like, okay, this kid isn't really like this. He just made some bad choices,
Right.
And he gave me a chance. And we need more state attorneys like that.
Have you reached out to him since then?
I did. I thank him all the time.
That's great. Yeah, I mean that's a good. Cause we don't often thank those types of people. The people who do give people chances and try to help. And like you said, kind of see the real person. A lot of people just that's their job. They're a prosecutor or they're a state attorney, and they don't really get the thanks that when they do give someone a leg up or
Yeah.
give them another chance.
And it's hard. Like, you can't just always just send somebody to jail and think they'll just change and get out and start living different. Like, it comes with time. Like,
Right.
you know, but I'm glad I finally saw the light, and I'll never go back. I'll never look back.
So what was your biggest challenge when you got out to reintegrate?
The biggest challenge for me was getting used to society, because I did 7 years in prison.
Oh wow.
So, like, phones changed,
Right.
everything changed. Social media
Sure.
took over the world, so it's like it was a struggle for that. But as far as getting jobs and stuff like that, it never held me back. I got out of prison and I went and worked for Investments Limited. It's a big construction. It's not a construction company, but they own a lot of real estate, retail real estate in Palm Beach County and Broward County. And you know, I went in a job interview and I put my case to them.
Right.
You know, and they gave me a chance. And I find that I never had a problem with that. But a lot of people get out and they're discouraged. They feel like, oh, I have this, they won't hire me. But
Right.
you can't go inside and interview with an attitude like that.
Sure. Right. I had something I was going to ask you. Okay, so yeah, so in the introduction of your book, you talked about how you were writing on like any scraps of paper that you could find. So tell me the process of writing a book when you don't really even have the basic the paper and ability to put your thoughts on paper.
Well, not to sound conceited, but I'm a naturally talented writer. I know I am, because only thing I did like in prison was read books. I read a lot of John Grisham, Stephen King, Sidney Sheldon.
Oh yeah.
You know, I read a lot of books, and I'm like, sometimes you get pissed off, like, damn, why did this character do that?
Right.
You know, and why did this book end like that? Like, and I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I'm writing my own book.
Yeah.
And
I like that. Yeah.
I just picked up a pen and, like you said, I just found some scrap paper and just started writing. I never made like a blueprint, I guess you would say. I never wrote a character list of names, none of that. I just picked up the pen and just started writing.
Right.
And I kept writing every day, and then before you know it, I had a manuscript finished in like 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. It's never taken me longer than a month to write a book, and I've written 9 books total.
Well, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite John Grisham book?
What is the tobacco lawsuit? What's the name? The Testament? No, not the Testament.
Might have been.
I can't think of the name of it.
But that was a good one.
Yeah.
Mine was, I think it may have even been his first one, the Pelican Brief.
I didn't read the
Oh, that was awesome. I think
I saw the
it's
movie,
based
though.
in the movie was good too, based in Louisiana maybe and some in Florida. But
Yeah, John Grisham was a good writer.
yeah, he's got that ability to kind of put like human topics in and find your good characters
And I'm into the whole court scene. Like, I don't know, like, maybe from getting in trouble so much, I just love the way they talk in court, and like the way everything is structured and set up. I just wish I was on a different side of it, but you know.
Well, I mean, you can still go and do that. I mean, anything is possible.
I actually became a certified paralegal in prison too.
Oh, really?
I took correspondence courses. So I'm gonna write a courtroom thriller. That's what I'm going with.
Well, that'd be interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to reading your book in full.
Yeah.
As many as I can get my hands on, because I always like I've got a lot of friends who write. I actually wrote a technical book like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Not very popular, and I hope no one read it because it's not very good either. So.
I actually released 2 books this morning. The other one is Only If I. It's a romance, an interracial romance story.
All right.
It's based in Florida.
And you're selling them on Amazon?
Yeah, on Amazon.
Awesome.
Amazon.com, Dante Coates, Only If I, or Revenge.
All right. Cool. We got anything else?
And this is going to take off pretty fast, because everybody that I've reached out to with my idea and what I'm saying, they gravitate towards it.
Right.
Because in the history of recovery and changing the streets and all that stuff, it's always addicts that clean their life up and then come back. But it's very few dealers that did it.
Right.
So I'm speaking out to reach the same goal, but just from a different perspective. So I look forward to that, and everything's based in Palm Beach County. I love it.
That's great. Yeah. What do you think? How do you feel like the whole recovery industry, and now the government's cracking down on sober homes? Do you have any kind of insight into that?
It's just basically selling. They're not selling drugs, but it's just taking the money away from the dealer and giving it to the treatment centers. But
Right.
But I'm not. I don't want to criticize them or talk down on them because it does save a lot of people, and you have to have those places. But a lot of stuff can be different,
Right.
and that's what I'm fighting towards.
Right. Okay. Good story.
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
What I'll do is I'll go ahead and edit all this.
Okay.
I don't. I'm not really good at editing it, but I'll kind of take segments out and put it into a blog entry,
Okay.
and then I'll maybe use the video. I'm not sure if I'll put the whole thing in, but I'll